Anine, bonjour, good morning, everyone. Are all integral to this work. For Matagami First Nation, announcements like today matter because they reflect how projects are being advanced and how our communities are not just consulted with, but are critical to these projects' successes. Our nation has a long history on this land and a long history on working alongside industry. We understand what responsible development requires, and that means ensuring that projects like the Crawford Nickel project are planned carefully and designed to deliver lasting benefits for our people and the region. We've worked alongside Canada Nickel in partnership to co-develop environmental, social, and economic mitigation measures that are built on a foundation of traditional Indigenous knowledge. And last year, Matagami, Matachewan, and Flying Post First Nations, are members of the Waban Tribal Council, entered into a contracting agreement with Canada Nickel for the Crawford project. That agreement set the foundation for early business and employment opportunities for our members and for continued work towards a comprehensive impact benefits agreement. For our nation, this kind of agreement matters because it creates real opportunities for our members to participate directly in the work taking place on our territory. Responsible development can support strong communities when it is done thoughtfully and transparently. We are focused on outcomes that strengthen our nation and the surrounding region, that protect our water and lands, and that support long-term regional growth and prosperity. As the Crawford project advances, our nation will continue to be actively involved. That includes sharing our perspectives, supporting opportunities for our members, and working with our partners to make sure development reflects both the potential of the region and the responsibility that comes with it. Thank you all for being here today and for recognizing the importance of First Nations partnerships as Ontario builds its critical minerals future. Now I'd like to welcome Melanie Dufresne, President of the Timmins Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you very much, Chief Constant. Annie, bonjour, good morning. My name is Melanie Dufresne, 2025-26 Timmins Chamber President. Thank you for joining us today for this important announcement. Timmins is built on mining, but more importantly, we understand what responsible and timely resource development means for our community. When major projects are delayed, the impact is felt across our local economy, from contractors and suppliers to workforce training and community planning. A more coordinated and predictable approvals process supports investment, helps local businesses plan and hire, and strengthens our regional supply chain while maintaining strong environmental standards and meaningful Indigenous consultation. For Timmins, getting mining projects built reinforces our regional role as a regional hub for mining excellence, skilled labor, and value-added opportunity tied to the EV and clean energy sectors. I'd like to acknowledge a few distinguished guests that we have here today. Amongst our guests, I'd like to acknowledge Chief Bruce Archibald of Taquatagamo First Nation, Chief Murray Ray of Flying Post First Nation, Chief Sony Batiste of Matachewan First Nation, Mayor the Honourable Michelle Boileau, City of Timmins, Mayor of Iroquois Falls, Tony Delorier, Mayor of Cochrane, Peter Politis, Mayor of Smooth Rock Falls, Patrick Roberts, as well as Gaëtan Mallette, MP, Kapuskasing Timmins Mushkekowuk, Jason Batiste, the Executive Director of Waban Tribal Council, as well as thanking our Chief of Police, Sydney Lucky, and the host for today's event, NPLH. Thank you for being here. It's now my pleasure to introduce the Minister, who will speak further about what this means for Timmins, Northern Ontario, and Ontario's economic future. Please join me in welcoming the Honourable Stephen Lecce, Minister of Energy and Mines.
Well, thank you, everyone. It's a great honor to be back in Timmins. Happy New Year to you all. We are starting 2026 off with a message of hope for our economy and our self-reliance as Canadians. We have chiefs and mayors and workers and community leaders in the House today with one vision and one mission. It's to stand up for our economy, for the most ethical resources on earth, to get people working, to ensure that Northern Ontario's economy is strong. And that's why I'm here today with my amazing colleague, your hard-working member of Provincial Parliament for the people of Timmins, George Prairie. He and I have been working together since day one to make sure that we realize our potential in partnership with First Nations to build our economy strong, to be a self-reliant energy superpower. And we committed ourselves in the spring to cut the red tape on the government, to make it easier, to move faster, to unapologetically work to get our resources to new markets, and to end the ripping and shipping of Canada's raw resources to the US, to Europe, and beyond. We want the processing, the value-added jobs to stay right here at home. And so, in a post-Trump world, it requires all of us to work together, to work with a bias of action. And so we launched a plan, one project, one process. This is common sense to most folks at home. But in government, this was a radical way of doing business. Yes, we're going to make the system work for you, work for Canada's incredible women and men who make these things happen. And so we looked at a problem we were determined to solve, that it took too long to do big things. It took too long to open a mine. Compared to other Western democracies, how could we be the outlier? How could we accept, as Canadians, to be the second slowest in the OECD? I know all of us expect of our government, of industry and community to work faster and better to stand up for our country. So we passed this law. We brought it forth. We passed it, we implemented it, we even used the designation in the fall at the PAC project, the Frontier Lithium project, designating that project as the first. And here today, we're committed to doing something at an unprecedented scale. Use the authority again to advance the Western world's largest nickel deposit, the largest critical mineral mine in the country. And that's what we're here to do, to make history, to move our economy along and to get moving on a project that will start construction in the year 2026. And so today, we are proud and honored to use the One Project Authority, one project, one process. Finally, we are designating the Canada Nickel Mine Crawford Nickel Project under this new authority to move with speed to help unlock 4,000 jobs and one of the world's finest and largest nickel deposits. And we believe when we are talking about 1,000 direct jobs, 3,000 indirect jobs, when we're talking about a project that could add $70 billion just for the mine alone to Canada's national economy, $5 billion in direct investment, this is how we do nation building. It is not an abstraction here in Timmins. This is the nickel district in the country. And we know with a 41-year lifespan, this is a generational employment opportunity for really our kids and our grandkids. And when we talk about having a production rate of 500,000 tons, it gives me hope that this will be the center of excellence, not just in nickel and nickel sulfide, but it will help unleash billions in economic potential for the country. When we think about low-carbon nickel, this will be Canada's value proposition compared to any of the Chinese-owned mines abroad. It will be Canada. It will be right here in the Timmins district, where we will have green, low-carbon nickel being produced for the world, 90% below global average. And that is one of the great value propositions we bring, sustainable and, as the chief said, responsible resource development. And that is the mission we're on. And so, when we look to the future, we're utilizing this authority today. It won't be the last time. This is part of an ongoing commitment by Premier Ford to tackle this challenge of the Trump tariffs with a sense of absolute certainty, confidence as Canadians, that we've got it all here. And if this, take a moment just to reflect on the resources, the ingenuity, the workforce, the collaboration, and the meaningful commitment of Canadians to do it right here at home. That's what I think should motivate you all in a world that is divided, it is dark, but there's some great source of light happening here in Timmins and in this country. And I'm so proud to be Canadian, especially in this new world order where it is the most ethical resources that we are working together to ensure they triumph. And I would say we really wouldn't be here if we didn't have a partner, if I didn't have a cabinet colleague and friend that was a leading voice, not just for Timmins, but for the Northern Ontario's prosperity and economy. And so when we think about the prospect of the Crawford mine, $67 billion to Ontario's economy, $70 billion overall, it makes sense that George Perry has been an unapologetic promoter and defender of this project and of this district. And he has demonstrated to you all that he has, both in his capacity as mayor and certainly today as member of provincial parliament and minister, that he's a fighter and he's delivering for you all. And so will you join me in welcoming this man to the podium today who has played a fundamentally vital role to ensuring we designate this project today for Crawford, for Timmins, and for all of Canada. Please welcome George Perry. Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure for me to be here today. As I've said, it was the honor of my lifetime to be the Minister of Mines. And I want to tell you truthfully and honestly, it's an honor of my lifetime to be a partner with Minister Stephen Lecce. He's a friend, he's a colleague, he's the Minister of Mines and Energy, and it's an honor of my lifetime to be associated with Minister Lecce. We are close friends. We work together all the time. Mr. Lecce, you're doing a great job. This is an exciting time in the history of Timmins. It's an exciting time for Northern Ontario. It's an exciting time for Canada because we know what Crawford nickel has. 4 billion tons of nickel, the globe's highest resource of nickel, here in Timmins. I've said to you many, many times, we are at the center of the geopolitical situation in the globe. I've said many times, we don't want the nickel from Indonesia. It's powered with coal. It's financed by the Chinese, and they ship their tailings to the oceans. We don't do that here in Ontario. We certainly don't do it here in Timmins. When you listen to Minister Lecce's remarks, he talks about how good we are, how good we can process, how good we are at mining. This is our time. We're at the right place at the right time. We've seen what's happening with Trump. When we campaigned, we said he wants to and he's willing to destroy the economy of Canada. When you got 4 billion tons of nickel in the ground, you can't destroy anybody's economy. You can't replace that nickel. The U.S. only has one source of nickel, a small source, and it's processed in Sudbury. That's why Timmins is the center of the new economy right here in the north. And not just Timmins. We're talking about all the surrounding communities around here that are going to benefit by the fact that we've got 4 billion tons of ore in the ground, from Hearst to Casing to Smooth Rock Falls, to Valrita, Smooth Rock Falls, Moonbeam, Iroquois Falls, Cochrane, and the Indigenous communities surrounding this area. We understand how important this is. Again, not just for Timmins, but for the globe. We've just recently seen what Trump did in Venezuela, embargoing the oil, because he doesn't have any. Well, he doesn't have any nickel either, but he's not going to be able to take our nickel out of the ground. Not a bloody chance. Not a bloody chance. We've got it right here, and we're going to process it here, and we're going to develop value-added industries here in the north. That's our future. That's the promise. And again, I'm obviously not in my remarks. But I think I've made the point. Our province, our premier, supports the development of the resources in Northern Ontario. We saw that in the ads in the World Series. We see that when we look at the Saturday night hockey games, and he's talking about mining. A few years ago, no one talked about mining. Now it's the topic of conversation because it's what we have, and it's what we're the world's best at. Everybody has to understand that. We are at the center of this here in Timmins and surrounding communities. I think I've said enough. With that, I'll hand it over to Mark. Mark Selby.
There we go. Those are pretty hard acts to follow, but I'll do my best. First, good morning, everyone, and thanks for taking the time for this big announcement for the company. Let me first start by thanking Minister Lecce and Minister Peary for being here today, and most importantly, for the leadership you've shown in advancing Ontario's critical mineral strategy and northern economic development. Today's is an important milestone, not just for Canada Nickel, but for the Timmins Nickel District, northeastern Ontario, and for the way major projects are developed in our province. The One Project, One Process framework reflects a clear commitment to getting important projects done the right way. That means strong coordination across government, accountability, and rigorous standards that communities can trust. We're incredibly proud to be named under this framework, which recognizes the advanced state of the Crawford Nickel project and the extensive work already underway to move this project forward responsibly. I also want to acknowledge our Indigenous partners who are here today, the First Nations of Waban Tribal Council and Taykwa-Tagmu Nation. Thank you, Chief Constant, for welcoming us onto Treaty 9 territory. Your trust, our strong foundation, and our growing partnerships, from equity investments to major contracting opportunities, are the foundation upon which we are building Crawford. Thank you as well to the City of Timmins, the surrounding municipalities, many representatives who are here today, our local suppliers, thank you to NPLH for hosting today, and most especially our team, some of which are standing behind me here today. It is thanks to this broad and deep expertise here in Northeast Ontario, the significant road, power, and rail infrastructure developed over more than a century of mining, that we've been able to take Crawford from the 5th drill hole to today's announcement, unlocking the world's largest nickel sulfide district in just over 6 years. Crawford alone, just the mine, is projected to generate over $70 billion in GDP for the country, bring in billions of dollars in investment, and create directly more than 1,000 well-paid long-term operating roles in this region. It also has the potential to become the Western world's largest nickel operation, North America's only source of chromium, and a key supplier of other critical minerals such as cobalt, platinum, and palladium. And just as important as all those statistics, Crawford has been designed from the outset to reflect the future of mining. The tailings from Crawford and all our future Timmins Nickel District projects can naturally sequester millions of tons of CO2 annually, and we're exploring technology to be able to store even more. This enables us to deliver clean, reliable nickel with a made-in-Ontario climate advantage for critical minerals production, in stark contrast to the high-carbon, high-environmental impact nickel produced in Indonesia under Chinese-controlled supply chains. When we combine that carbon storage with northeastern Ontario's robust infrastructure, this creates the potential for a globally competitive critical mineral supply chain and one of the world's first zero-carbon industrial clusters, because that's how we do it in Northern Ontario. Today's designation under the One Project, One Process framework will provide more certainty and coordination around how the project will move forward so that the benefits of responsible critical mineral development are realized here at home. as the only mining project in Canada to secure this type of endorsement from both the federal and provincial government. Today's announcement strengthens our commitment to commencing construction by year-end. We also look forward to working with the province through its newly announced Critical Minerals Processing Fund to help realize these ambitions. On behalf of Canada Nickel, we're proud to be a part of Ontario's critical minerals corridor that is taking shape right here in Timmins. We look forward to continuing to work closely with the province, our Indigenous partners, and the Northeast region as the Crawford Nickel project continues to advance. Thank you.
We will now open it up to questions from the media. Reporters can line up behind me, ask their question through the microphone. Please identify your name and outlet before your question. First reporter, go ahead.
First of all, I'm Lydia from CTV News Northern Ontario. Specifically, what does this announcement mean in particular to Canada Nickel? Now, give me a second, please, to get back to my camera.
Permitting certainty is a key thing for mining projects, and today's announcement really crystallizes what the province has already been doing. Our team permitted another project in another province a decade ago, and the transformation that we've seen with the regulatory authorities in terms of how they want to work collaboratively, still as rigorously, but as collaboratively to get permits done. This will give us the certainty to be able to hit that construction milestone by year end.
Oh, thank you. All right, so now, as Mark was saying, this is the only mine in Canada now to receive such a designation. What is it about Canada Nickel that is so deserving?
So it's the first project to receive federal and provincial endorsement. That is true. I think what stands out is that this is a project that is shovel-ready. I mean, the vision, the Government of Ontario is making a commitment to move the permits aligned with their construction schedule. They want to get this construction started by the end of 26 and the mine open as soon as Q4 of 28. So, I mean, this is a pretty incredible turnaround. So we want to create jobs. We want to displace Chinese dirty nickel in global markets with green nickel that is being produced here among the cleanest nickel on earth. We want to stand up a Canadian homegrown supply chain that reaffirms soft power leverage with the United States and others, where we have the nickel that is a prerequisite to build the aerospace, the military hardware, all the things that industrialized economies need. We've got it right here below our feet. And this is a company that has demonstrated a strong commitment to collaboration, both with First Nations and with community. And so they have our full endorsement. We're honored to be standing with them and the chiefs and the mayors today to signal the green light, to give them our commitment to move with speed, to get these permits approved, get shovels to the ground, and frankly, create the thousands of jobs for families in Timmins and across the district. Thank you.
That concludes today's press conference.
Okay. Please.
Thank you. Hi, Chief Constant.
Hi.
So you're here today to obviously you welcome this news that was announced today and endorse your good working relationship with Canada Nickel. And why is that?
I think from the onset, Canada Nickel has done I wouldn't say consultation. They've built relationships with the First Nations in the region. I know I can certainly say that for Matagami First Nation, and I think any of the other First Nations that are in the region also have that relationship. It's one that's built on respect, understanding, and also knowing that there is a responsibility as we move forward with this project. Long gone are the days where First Nation input in terms of sustainability and environmental issues are not factored in. So I think that when we talk about respect, we're speaking about that aspect of it when we talk about the relationships with First Nations and projects. And just so everyone knows, that is the standard of what we expect for all relationships within our territories. Miigwech, Lydia.
Just before we wrap up, I want to just give a shout out to the workers who are with us. I mean, there's a lot of women and men who are doing really important work in our mining sector. We have the most advanced, respected, and committed workforce, highly ethical, highly committed to the cause of advancing Team Canada. And I got to meet some of these workers earlier today. One of them was very generous. In fact, while meeting me, paid a compliment. Karen, would you be so kind to come up here today, Karen? Karen, I'm also proud to announce, so Karen came up to me, we had a quick hello, she looks and says something kind enough like, oh my God, you're a handsome guy. I'm like, well, Karen, I just cut your hydro rates by 50% for that. So, but for people like Karen, for all of you, you're making a difference. I mean, you really are making a difference. You make us proud to be Canadians. It's not because of Karen's kindness. It's because of your work ethic that makes us proud to say that the resources we have in this country are the most ethical on earth. Let's be proud of our country, proud of our partnerships with First Nations, and proud of the great work people like Karen do every day. So thank you all. Appreciate it. Thank you.